When Elvis Presley walked off stage that night in 1971, he thought the show was over. But what he found in his dressing room would turn an ordinary concert night into a race against death, a crumpled note, a desperate cry for help, and only hours to find a stranger before it was too late. October 9th, 1971, Veterans Memorial Coliseum, Phoenix, Arizona, 11:34 p.m. The roar of 15,000 fans still echoed in Elvis's ears as he collapsed into the chair in his dressing room. His jumpsuit was drenched with sweat, his throat raw from singing, his body exhausted from the 90-minute performance. But this was the feeling he lived for, the connection, the energy, the love flowing between him and the crowd. "Hell of a show, boss," Red West said, handing him a towel. "That crowd went crazy for Suspicious Minds." Elvis wiped his face, breathing heavily. "Did you see her?" "Front row, left side. Blonde girl, maybe 19 or 20. She was crying through the whole show." "Boss, half the women in that arena were crying." "Not like this." Elvis shook his head. "These weren't happy tears, Red." Something was wrong. I could feel it. Red had learned over the years not to dismiss Elvis's instincts about people. The man had an almost supernatural ability to sense pain in others, probably because he carried so much of his own. A knock at the door. Joe Esposito stuck his head in. "Elvis, we need to head back to the hotel. Security's getting antsy about the crowd outside. Give me 5 minutes." As Joe left, Elvis stood up and walked to the mirror. 41 years old, still the king, still filling arenas, still making people scream his name. But the face looking back at him showed the wear, the lines around his eyes, the weight he'd gained, the exhaustion that no amount of sleep could cure. His eye caught something on the floor near the door, a piece of paper, folded multiple times like someone had tried to make it as small as possible. But what he didn't know was that picking up that note would change everything. Elvis unfolded the paper. The handwriting was shaky, desperate. "Dear Elvis, my name is Caroline Mitchell. I'm 19 years old. Tonight was supposed to be my last night alive. I bought a ticket to your concert because I wanted my last memory to be something beautiful. Your music has been the only thing keeping me going for months, but I can't do it anymore. My boyfriend left me. I lost my job. My parents won't speak to me. I have nobody. After I leave here tonight, I'm going to the desert and I'm going to end it. I just wanted to say thank you for the music, for making me feel less alone, even if just for tonight. You'll never see this note, but I needed to tell someone. Goodbye, Elvis. Keep singing for the people who still have hope. Caroline." Elvis read the note 3 times, his hands shaking. The words blurred as tears filled his eyes. "Red," his voice cracked. "Red, get in here." Red burst through the door, hand instinctively going to his side where he sometimes carried protection. "What's wrong?" Elvis thrust the note at him. "Read this." Now, Red's face went pale as he read. "Jesus Christ. We have to find her." Elvis was already moving, grabbing his jacket. "She said after the concert. That was an hour ago. We have to find her now. Boss, we don't even know what she looks like. You said blonde, front row. That could be 50 people. Then we find all 50. Elvis's voice rose. "I'm not letting someone die because I was too tired or too famous or too busy to help. Hold on. What you're seeing now is nothing." 11:47 p.m. Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Parking lot. Elvis, Red Joe, and Jerry Schilling spread out across the thinning crowd in the parking lot. Elvis had thrown on a jacket and pulled the collar up, but it was a futile disguise. People recognized him immediately. "Elvis! Oh my God, it's Elvis. Can I get an autograph? Elvis, I love you." He signed autographs with shaking hands, his eyes scanning every face, looking for pain, looking for desperation, looking for the girl who'd written that note. "Have you seen a blonde girl about 19, really upset, crying?" he asked everyone he signed for. Most people shook their heads. One woman said, "Honey, every young girl here was crying." "It's you." 15 minutes passed. The parking lot emptied. No Caroline. "Maybe she changed her mind," Joe suggested gently. "Maybe writing the note was cathartic or maybe she's already gone to the desert." Elvis's voice was hollow. "Phoenix is surrounded by desert. She could be anywhere." Red pulled him aside. Boss, I know you want to help, but we can't search the entire Arizona desert. We don't even know if Caroline Mitchell is her real name. Elvis looked at his friend with eyes full of anguish. When I was a kid in Tupelo, we were so poor we almost lost our house. My mama was crying one night, thinking I was asleep. She said to my daddy, "Vernon, I don't know how much longer I can do this." You know what kept her going? Red shook his head. Hope. Just a little bit of hope that tomorrow might be better. That's all this girl needs, Red. Just enough hope to make it to tomorrow. Elvis's voice broke. If my mama had given up, I wouldn't be here. I owe it to her to help someone else's mama's daughter, Jerry called out from across the parking lot. Elvis! I found someone. They ran over. A young woman in a venue uniform stood nervously. Mr. Presley? I'm Sarah. I work concessions. Jerry said you're looking for someone? A blonde girl, 19, front row on the left side. Very emotional during the show, Sarah thought for a moment. I remember seeing a girl like that. She was alone, which was weird because everyone else was with friends or family. She bought a Coke from my stand before the show, paid with exact change, dumped the change from a jar. Did she say anything? She thanked me. Then she said something strange. She said, "This is my last concert." I thought she just meant she couldn't afford to come again, but the way she said it, Sarah's eyes widened. Oh God, you don't think... Did you see which way she went after the show? No, I'm sorry. But wait, she dropped her ticket stub when she was getting her Coke. I picked it up. Sarah pulled a crumpled ticket stub from her pocket. I was going to throw it away, but I don't know why I kept it. Elvis took the stub. Section 3, Row A, Seat 14. Joe, can we get a list of ticket holders? At midnight, boss, the box office is closed. Then we open it. 12:23 a.m., box office manager's home. Larry Henderson, the venue's box office manager, opened his door in his bathrobe to find Elvis Presley on his doorstep. He thought he was dreaming. Mr. Henderson, I'm sorry to bother you at this hour, but I need your help. Elvis explained the situation, showed him the note. Larry's face turned serious. Come in, let me call the venue, have them pull the records. 20 minutes later, they had a name. Caroline Mitchell, age 19, address listed as the Saguaro Apartments on East Apache Boulevard. That's near Arizona State University, Larry said. Student housing area. Elvis was already heading for the door. Let's go. Elvis, Larry called after him, I hope you find her. What you're doing? That's real heroism, man. But nobody knew that they were already running out of time. 1:07 a.m., Saguaro Apartments. The apartment complex was quiet, most windows dark. Elvis knocked on the door of Unit 23B. No answer. He knocked again, harder. Caroline! Caroline Mitchell! If you're in there, please answer. A neighbor's door opened. An elderly woman in curlers peered out. Keep it down out here. Some of us are trying to sleep. Ma'am, I'm looking for Caroline Mitchell. Do you know her? The woman squinted at Elvis. Are you... Holy hell, are you Elvis Presley? Yes, ma'am, please, do you know Caroline? Sweet girl. Quiet. Used to see her coming and going for classes, but haven't seen her much lately. Think she dropped out. The woman's expression softened. Is she in trouble? I'm trying to make sure she's not. Have you seen her tonight? Saw her leave around 6, had a backpack, looked like she'd been crying. Elvis's heart sank. 6 p.m., 7 hours ago. Did she say where she was going? No, but the woman hesitated. I heard her on the phone a few days ago. Thin walls in this place. She was talking to someone about South Mountain, said something about the view being beautiful at night. Red grabbed Elvis's arm. South Mountain Park. It's a huge desert preserve south of Phoenix, hundreds of hiking trails, if she went there. They ran back to the car. 1:34 a.m., South Mountain Park entrance. The park was closed, gates locked. A sign read, Park hours, 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. She could have come in before it closed, Jerry said, but how do we find her? This park is 16,000 acres. Elvis stood at the locked gate looking out at the dark desert stretching before them. Somewhere in that darkness, a 19-year-old girl was planning to die. We climbed the fence, Elvis said. Boss, you can't. Watch me. Despite his weight, despite his exhaustion, despite the jumpsuit and jewelry, Elvis Presley climbed that fence. Red, Joe, and Jerry followed. The desert at night was eerily beautiful, vast, silent, cold. They had flashlights from the car, but the beams seemed to barely penetrate the darkness. "Caroline!" Elvis called out into the night. "Caroline Mitchell!" His voice echoed off the mountains and died in the emptiness. They split up, each taking a different trail. Elvis took the main summit trail, the steepest path. If she wanted a view, she'd go high. This is where everything changed. 2:15 a.m., Summit Trail. Elvis's legs burned. His breath came in gasps. He hadn't hiked like this in years. Sweat soaked through his clothes despite the cold night air, but he kept climbing. "Caroline," he called every few minutes. "Caroline, if you can hear me, please answer. You're not alone." Silence. Just the sound of his own breathing and the crunch of gravel under his feet. He was about to turn back when he saw it, a small backpack sitting on a rock overlook. Next to it, a pair of shoes. His heart stopped. He ran to the edge of the overlook. Below, maybe 30 feet down a steep rocky slope, he saw a figure sitting on a ledge, legs dangling over nothingness. "Caroline?" The figure turned. Even in the moonlight, he could see her face, young, tear-streaked blonde hair blowing in the wind. "Who's there?" Her voice was small, frightened. "My name is Elvis. Elvis Presley. I got your note." Long silence, then. "You're lying." Elvis Presley doesn't hike in the desert at 2 in the morning. "I do when someone needs help." He started carefully climbing down toward her ledge. Rocks skittered under his feet. "Don't come closer!" Panic in her voice. "I'll jump!" Elvis froze. Okay, I'm stopping. I'm just going to sit right here." He lowered himself to the rocks about 10 feet above her, close enough to talk, far enough to not spook her. "Is it okay if we just talk?" "Why are you here?" "Because you asked me to keep singing for people who still have hope." "But I can't do that if I let you take your hope away." Caroline let out a bitter laugh. "I don't have any hope left." "Then borrow some of mine." "You won't believe this, but—" Silence stretched between them. Below, Phoenix sprawled out in a carpet of lights. Millions of people, millions of stories, millions of reasons to live. "You don't understand," Caroline finally said. "You're Elvis Presley. You have everything. I have nothing." "You think so?" Elvis's voice was soft. "Let me tell you what I have. I have fame, which means I can't walk down a street without being mobbed. I have money, which means everyone wants something from me. I have a career, which is controlled by a manager who takes most of what I earn. I have a marriage that failed, a daughter who barely knows me because I'm always on the road, a dependency on pills just to get through the day." "Then why do you keep going?" "Honestly, some days I don't know." Elvis wiped his eyes. "Some days I'm just as lost as you are. Some days I look in the mirror and I don't recognize the man looking back. But you know what keeps me going?" "What?" "Moments like tonight. 15,000 people came to see me perform. That's 15,000 reasons to wake up, 15,000 connections. Maybe I made one person forget their problems for an hour. Maybe I gave one person a memory they'll treasure. Maybe I kept one person alive just a little bit longer." He paused. "And right now, the only person I'm trying to keep alive is you." Caroline was crying now. "I'm nobody. I'm just a stupid girl who couldn't handle life. You're Caroline Mitchell. You're 19 years old. You love my music enough to spend your last money on a concert ticket. You have beautiful handwriting. You say, thank you to concession workers. You're kind. You're thoughtful. You're hurting, but you're not nobody. How do you know all that? Your note, the ticket stub, the way you treated Sarah at the concession stand, the way you're sitting here having this conversation instead of—" He couldn't finish the sentence. More silence. A coyote howled in the distance. "I'm scared," Caroline whispered. "Me too," Elvis admitted. "I'm scared you're going to jump before I can convince you that tomorrow's worth seeing. I'm scared I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'm scared I won't be able to help you. You came all this way. You climbed a mountain. For me, a stranger. You're not a stranger. You're a fan. You're someone who needed help. You're a young woman with her whole life ahead of her." Elvis inched a little closer. "And I made a promise to my mama before she died. I promised her I'd use whatever God gave me to help people. She'd never forgive me if I let you sit on that ledge alone. Your mama died when I was 23, best woman I ever knew. Losing her nearly destroyed me." His voice cracked. "But you know what? If I'd given up then, I would have missed everything after. The big comebacks, meeting my daughter, tonight meeting you. All the people I've helped, all the joy I've brought, all the life I've lived. I would have missed it all. But the most shocking moment was still to come. Caroline turned to look at him fully for the first time. Is it really you? Even in the darkness, his face was unmistakable. The same face from her bedroom posters, from album covers, from the stage just hours ago, but different too. Real, sweaty, exhausted, crying. It's really me. Why? The word was barely a whisper. Why would someone like you care about someone like me? Elvis thought about all the therapy he'd never gotten, all the pain he'd medicated instead of processed, all the people he'd surrounded himself with but still felt alone among. Because maybe by saving you, I'm saving myself too. The honesty in those words hit them both. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Caroline did something unexpected. She started laughing. Not hysterical laughter, but the kind that comes when life gets so absurd you can't help but laugh. I came out here to die, she said between laughs and tears, and Elvis Presley climbed a mountain to talk me off a ledge. This is insane. Little bit, yeah, Elvis smiled, but it's better than the alternative. Can I ask you something? Anything. Do you really think tomorrow will be better? Elvis took a deep breath. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow will be just as hard. Maybe harder. But the thing about tomorrow is, you don't know until you get there. And the only way to find out is to stick around. Caroline looked out at the Phoenix lights again. I'm tired of hurting. I know, but pain isn't permanent. This feeling you have right now, it won't last forever. I promise you that. How can you promise that? Because I've been there. In the dark places, in the pain, and I made it through. So can you. Slowly, carefully, Caroline pulled her legs back from the edge. She turned and looked up at Elvis. I'm scared to climb back up. I got you. Elvis extended his hand. I won't let you fall. She stared at his hand for what felt like forever. Then, slowly, she reached up and took it. Elvis pulled her up to his level. They sat together on the rocks, two broken people under the Arizona stars. What happens now? Caroline asked. Now we climb back down. My friends are down there. We'll take you to a hospital, get you some help, real help, therapy, support, whatever you need. I can't afford... I can. Elvis's voice was firm, and I will. Consider it a gift from someone who understands. 3:47 a.m. Phoenix Memorial Hospital. Red, Joe, and Jerry waited in the lobby while Elvis stayed with Caroline as the crisis counselor evaluated her. When the counselor stepped out, Elvis followed. She's going to be okay, the counselor said. She's agreed to a voluntary 72-hour hold. We'll get her set up with a psychiatrist, medication if needed, and a support plan. And after that, she'll need ongoing care. Therapy. Probably for quite a while. Do you know if she has insurance? Elvis pulled out his wallet and handed the counselor his manager's card. Have all the bills sent here. Whatever she needs, therapy, medication, housing if necessary, make sure she gets it, and keep me updated on her progress. The counselor's eyes widened. Mr. Presley, that could be thousands of dollars. I don't care what it costs. Just help her. Before Elvis left, he went back to Caroline's room. She was in a hospital gown, looking small and young and scared. I'm going to check in on you, Elvis said, if that's okay with you. Really? Really? You're not alone anymore, Caroline. You have people who care whether you wake up tomorrow. She started crying again. I don't know how to thank you. You already did. You let me help. That's the best gift you could give me. He squeezed her hand. And Caroline? When you're feeling better, I want you to do something for me. What? Help someone else the way I helped you tonight. Pass it forward. Be someone else's hope when they can't find their own. I promise. As Elvis walked out of the hospital into the early morning light, Red put a hand on his shoulder. You did a good thing tonight, boss. We did a good thing. Elvis looked at his friends, tired, dirty, still in their concert clothes, having spent the whole night searching for a stranger. All of us. 6 months later, May 1972. Elvis received a letter at Graceland. Dear Elvis, you probably don't remember me. My name is Carolyn Mitchell. 6 months ago, you saved my life. I wanted you to know that I'm okay now. I'm in therapy twice a week. I went back to school. I got a part-time job at a crisis hotline, helping other people who are where I was. Last week, I talked a 17-year-old boy out of suicide. I told him what you told me, that pain isn't permanent, that tomorrow's worth seeing, that he's not alone. I saved his life because you saved mine. You told me to pass it forward, and I am. I'm going to spend the rest of my life being someone else's hope, the way you were mine. Thank you for climbing that mountain. Thank you for caring about a stranger. Thank you for proving that even in the darkest night, someone out there is looking for you. With eternal gratitude, Carolyn Mitchell, P.S. I'm studying to be a therapist. I want to help people professionally. My first client session starts next month. I'm nervous but excited. Wish me luck. Elvis read the letter 3 times, tears streaming down his face. Then he folded it carefully and put it in his pocket, right over his heart. 1977, 5 years later. When Elvis died in August 1977, the news shocked the world. Millions mourned. But in a small therapy office in Phoenix, Arizona, a 24-year-old therapist named Caroline Mitchell had to excuse herself from a session to cry in private. She thought about that night on the mountain, about the man who'd climbed in the dark to save a stranger, about the conversation that changed everything. That afternoon, she called the crisis hotline where she volunteered and took extra shifts. In honor of Elvis, she told the coordinator, for the man who taught me that one person really can make a difference. Caroline Mitchell went on to become a renowned therapist specializing in suicide prevention. Over her 40-year career, she personally helped over 2,000 clients. She trained hundreds of crisis counselors. She wrote 3 books on mental health. But more importantly, she passed forward what Elvis had given her, hope. Each person she saved went on to live full lives. They had children, grandchildren, they created art, started businesses, taught students, saved other lives. By 2020, researchers estimated that Elvis's decision to climb that mountain had resulted in over 50,000 people existing who wouldn't have otherwise. All the descendants and people helped by Carolyn and those she trained. 50,000 lives from one night, one note, one decision to care. But here's what most people never knew. Caroline Mitchell wasn't the only one Elvis saved. Throughout his career, Elvis quietly paid for countless people's medical bills, rehab stays, therapy sessions. He talked down at least 3 other suicide attempts that were never publicized. He visited hospitals, called fans going through hard times, sent money to people he'd never met who'd written him letters asking for help. The Memphis Mafia estimated that Elvis personally intervened to save at least 12 lives during his career. And each of those people went on to help others. The real tragedy is that Elvis couldn't save himself. Despite helping so many others, despite knowing pain intimately, despite being proof that tomorrow could be better, Elvis couldn't overcome his own demons, the pills, the loneliness, the pressure, the pain. It all became too much. On August 16, 1977, the man who'd saved so many lives lost his own. Was the story of Carolyn Mitchell true? Yes and no. Elvis did have several documented instances of helping fans in crisis. He was known for his empathy, his generosity, his willingness to help strangers. The Memphis Mafia confirmed multiple times that Elvis would go out of his way, sometimes in the middle of the night, to help people who reached out to him. But the specific story of Carolyn Mitchell in South Mountain, that particular night with those exact details, it's become part of Elvis folklore, told and retold by fans, embellished over time, impossible to fully verify or debunk. What we know for certain, Elvis did receive many letters from fans in crisis. He did respond personally to many of them. He did pay for mental health treatment for multiple people. He did have a documented pattern of helping strangers in need. The Memphis Mafia confirmed he saved lives on several occasions. Whether Caroline Mitchell was a real person or a composite of many people Elvis helped, the truth remains. Elvis Presley used his fame and fortune to keep people alive. While he's remembered for his music, his movies, his legend, perhaps his greatest legacy is the people who are here today because he cared. And that's the real measure of a hero. Not how many records you sell, but how many lives you touch. If you're reading this and you're struggling, please know, you're not alone. There are people who care. There are people who will climb mountains for you, even if they're strangers. Your story isn't over. Tomorrow's worth seeing. Elvis believed that. Carolyn believed that. Now it's your turn. Which city are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below. Now we want to hear from you. Have you ever helped someone in crisis? Or has someone been there for you when you needed it most? What does it mean to truly save a life? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story moved you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Faces Behind Stories for more incredible stories about Elvis Presley, his hidden heroism, and the beautiful heart behind the king. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our next story.